And a basement apartment is not a prison. You get, you can start up in a basement, get a very small car, just start up low key until you eventually hammer. Ignore my dressing. I just I just finished an interview, and of course I wore a top and this. By the way, I thought I was recording that interview process, like, but for some reason I didn't just press play. I don't know what's happening to me. Well, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I know it's been a while we did a sit down video. You know why you all saw my pretty face just sitting down. Well, here I am. So I have a lot of stuff around me. See, if I show you my surrounding, you'll be marveled. Ignore what you see behind me. That's the heater. The weather is like 18 degrees today, but it's very windy, so I am cold. Because like I said, I just finished an interview, and whenever I am nervous, I feel cold and hot at the same time. I don't know why, but that's how it is. So today, we're in the month of May, right? 2024, and as at May last year, we left Nigeria May 31st. Yeah, May 31st, 2023. And it's almost a year since we relocated. And to be honest, there are a few things that I have learned the hard way, the good way, whatever way, but I have learned them, and they're part of the things that have kept me sane and unseen. Like, the ones that have kept me unseen is the fact that I didn't realize these things earlier, and now to get. But yeah, that's it. I just want to quickly come on here and talk about something that I think happens a lot to us immigrants, right? Now, this video is specifically for immigrants, intended immigrants. This is not just like one of those my videos where I come and just spill out realities and say, oh, this is that. And I'm talking about people that are picking up their lives and moving to a different country to start up and all of that. So basically, what this video is just talking about the realities of relocation, right? And it's going to be centered on maybe married people. And this is because a couple of people have sent me messages, and I've heard discussions and seen on blogs and stuff like, what do you think? Like, should I get married before I relocate, or should I chill and should I move now, or should I just wait? I hear that it's easier for married people and this. To be honest, I didn't come in single. Most of my friends that I know that relocated single, most of them met their spouses in this abroad and they are married. And then I still have a few of my friends that relocated but aren't married, but they are doing well for themselves. And also, I'm just going to talk about relocating as a couple, a family, and relocating, and I'll touch base with relocating as a single person, just to the much that I know, talking to people around me, my friends, because that is their reality, not mine. Like, I haven't lived the single abroad life to get. So I will start by saying that relocating abroad with your spouse is a blessing. Hold on, let me check my mic. Okay. I'll start by saying that relocating abroad with your spouse is a blessing, and it's a blessing in so many ways. And the most basic one of them is the fact that you have a partner. Like, you have someone that you can always fall back to, come home, talk to when the going gets tough, when you feel like when you feel overwhelmed about things, situations, like the new realities of life. However, and I made some of these mistakes, to be honest. However, not realizing some things can also have a negative impact on your relationship with your spouse, right? And these are some of the few things that I think we should take into consideration as immigrants. First things first, for me, I'll talk about it from my own point of view. For me, in Nigeria, I was extremely comfortable. Like, I was very comfortable. I had the liberty to afford anything I wanted. Well, I couldn't afford a 2024 Lamborghini or a house in Banana Island, but I wasn't broke, I wasn't hungry. I could afford to go for vacations if I needed, doing the things that I love, like of rendering help to people around me. Like, just doing the things I loved wasn't an issue at all. Like, I could afford to just do whatever. If I wanted a dress, I would buy it without looking at my bank account and doing all of that. But to be honest, coming to this part of the world, for the first few months, I struggled a lot with adjusting in the sense that, whoa, like, I'm in Nigeria. I wasn't living lavish. Do you get? It's not as if I'm top top 100 rich people in Lagos or top 100 rich people in Nigeria. No, I wasn't. However, I could afford everything I needed. Like, there was nothing I needed that I couldn't get. Do you get? Or maybe if I couldn't get it at the time, I just needed to plan around my savings, and it would come true. So coming here and having to adjust so much so that it felt like I was shrinking affected me a whole lot. And if I knew what I know now back then, I would have handled it better. I would have realized that, listen, this is a phase where we are, um starting afresh. We're starting afresh. It's not like we're not earning in naira anymore. As such, spending power is, really, receiving and spending power is not what it used to be, basically. Because I remember when we first came in, like, I go into a store and I see something for $50 and I'll pick it. Now, when I say something, it could just be like a fine cup that I like for $50, and I didn't mind buying it. Do you get? Because it was $50. To be honest, I was looking at the currency with the eye of my naira. Do you get? I'm like, well, about 500 naira. Why can't I spend $500? Do you get? And I don't know if this is if it's a mental work or something. Me, when I first came in, I used to equate $100 1,000, $50 500, $20 200 naira, $10 100 naira, $5 50 naira, because that's the currency that we have. Then we had $1, $2, like loonies, tunies, and in Nigeria we had 1 naira, 2 naira, but there was nothing that was like 1 naira, 2 naira anymore. So if I knew what I know now, I wouldn't have been killing myself over the fact that I couldn't spend as I would spend on a regular day in Lagos or in Nigeria, like affording everything I wanted, being there for people when they needed me without even thinking about the implication on my account and all of that, because I'm like, I could afford it, right? It was a lifestyle I could afford. And I remember that the first few months we came in, it was sometimes I was just on my own sulking and crying, and that's because I'm like this money is reducing and I'm not seeing the money that's coming back. Because we came in June. I got my first job in August, so that meant that, like, for 2 months I was just spending like money I came in with, and I was not seeing anyone that was coming in, that kind of thing. And to an extent that affected my marriage, because I was always not in a good mood, and it affected like my relationship with my husband. People that know me know that, well, it affected my relationship with my husband, and I didn't like it. Looking back now, I wish I didn't let those things, affect me as much as it did. I wish I didn't let that affect me as much as it did. So if you're intending, if you're intending immigrant or something like that, just know that the first few months, years, me that's even saying this, I'm less than a year. I'm 11 months now. And I'm still learning, right? So just take this beforehand. They didn't tell me. I'm telling you beforehand. Just your first few months, first few years, you're still trying to settle in. It's not a Dorime situation. It's not a Dorime party. You're still trying to settle in, adjusting to the system, the economic. You're still adjusting to the economic system of the new place you've emigrated to. So it could take time. Like, give yourself grace. Don't be too hard on yourself. Another thing is, I feel like we do this thing consciously or unconsciously. Where we, you compete with people. It could be a healthy competition. When I mean healthy competition, it could be a case of, or an optimistic mindset where you go like, this person, like on the internet, you see a lot of people saying, I landed and I got my first big job in 1 week. I got my first big job in 2 months. I got my first big job in 3 months. It is great and amazing to be optimistic in your thinking and your planning, but it is also very essential not to, put a benchmark on yourself and the endless possibilities that God has for you. This is what I'm saying. When we came in, I was almost losing my mind. I hadn't gotten a job in June. It was crazy that in July, I hadn't gotten a job, like I hadn't gotten an offer. I got an offer late July to resume in August. And the job, my first job, wasn't necessarily my preferred job. But because like the people had seen on the internet and every other person, oh, I got my first job, this is the secret, this is what you do, this is what, sometimes all these things work, don't get me wrong. However, the job market everywhere right now is, for lack of a better word, saturated. And there is what's it called, well, the job market at the moment is not funny, to be honest. And I don't know if this would sound overly religious to some people, but it takes a lot of patience, and it takes the grace of God and the favor of God to, help you through the job market as it is. There are overqualified people in the job market just as much as just qualified people and underqualified people. So at this point, it comes up to grace, mercy, God, your knowledge, and all of that, like a combination of everything, but most especially putting God at the forefront of what you're doing. Because sometimes it's not even about the money, but the environment that you find yourself in. What are the perks that you get from this work environment? You get those kind of things are also, part of the things that help people make informed decision. So I digress. Where I'm coming from is, don't compare, don't be in an unknown competition with anybody. Somebody got their jobs 1 week after they landed, 2 months before they landed, 1 day after they landed. That person and you are not the same. When you put unnecessary pressure on, when you compete with people and put unnecessary pressure on yourself, you tend to, be angry and be sad when things don't work out the way you want them to work out. For me, I am a Christian. Sometimes I fall short of this thing that I'm even talking about. Like, I'm like, oh my God, why is this thing not working out for me? And then I'm angry, I'm all over the place, I feel sad. But again, my brain sort of realigns with me. The Holy Spirit in me just, gives me that decking that, my dear, their story and your story is not the same. And look at it, it's not like you're hungry. I'm not living under the bridge, I'm not hungry. I afford my basic necessities and, extra. Right now, I'm even more comfortable than I was when we came in. But putting yourself under unnecessary pressure and competing with people that, put their stories out on the internet. In fact, I feel like the worst of them all is competing with people that you don't know. Like, they put their stories on the internet, they just tell you, oh, I got my job 1 week after I landed. Nobody really tells you. In fact, let me be very honest. Nobody really tells you the things that they had to put up with before the grass became greener. I tell you this for free. If you argue with me, or if you don't believe, go back and check people's stories, especially the ones that are on the internet. Those stories, their success, this, their that. They only come to tell you after they have made it. And that's because in most cases, they are not maybe proud of how they started and all of that. So they don't tell you while they are going through the journey. They only tell you after they have made it. So it's not like a story, like there's no, I don't know the right words, is it that there's no stigma or there's nothing to hold them with to say, oh, they are not doing well or something like that. So basically, avoid unnecessary competition. If not to affect your marriage, you won't even be happy. Now I'm talking to the married people, you won't be happy. You will just be thinking every day you are worried about one thing or the other. Just it's not healthy. I remember one time that I was so angry about how the fact that things weren't coming out as in going on as I envisioned it to go in my head and all of that. And I spoke to someone, I'm not going to disclose who the person is, but she's a big sister to me, and I spoke to her and she's like, listen to me, how were you guys in Nigeria? How the way things were for you guys in Nigeria didn't just start up overnight. It was with hard work and dedication as well. So just give yourself time, give it time. And another thing also that I have to mention here, I don't want to forget it, is the fact that sometimes we undermine the courage that we have and how well we are doing. See, it takes a lot to leave your comfort zone and come over, cross how many countries, oceans, seas, and come over to a place and start afresh. Give yourself grace. You are doing beautifully well. You are doing okay. Don't just compare yourself with people. In fact, compare yourself with yourself. What I started doing after I had that conversation with her was, and I started thinking back, like when I started my career in Nigeria, like when I started working, I didn't start in the position that I left in. No, I started as an entry level. And no, I'm not saying that you must start as an entry level when you come over to this place. No. However, give yourself grace. Give yourself grace. Whatever you see whatever you find to do that is in line with your career plan and your goals, just start up with it. Don't beat yourself up for decisions that you have already made, because guess what? You have made the decisions, right? And it's only good or great that you see it to the end and achieve great things. If unless it is now, it has gotten to the point where you cannot anymore, you have to carry your bag and go back home, my dear, carry it and go back home. But if you're doing okay, quality of life has improved, you're doing well, give yourself time and grace. You would get better. Don't forget that you're in a land, a country where you necessarily do not have family around or friends. So it's not like when you were back home, maybe bad as bad, you maybe go home, you talk to somebody, you have friends, you have family, you have people that have made it in industry that can easily fix you up and all of that. My darling, you're in a place where for some people, you're the first of your family to be in this place. So you're the first of your friends to be in this place. So it's not like you have any relationships that you're drawing from. You don't have, so you're coming to build the relationship, start life afresh, and build all of these things afresh. So give yourself grace. You're doing amazing. Another thing that I want to mention for married couple, domestic care, domestic responsibilities is not gender specified. You see the people that used to form, I am the man and my responsibility is to this, is to that. I am the woman, I cannot. I'm sorry, but you can't survive abroad. In this zone, in this area, it is a all in the game kind of situation. Everybody brings their best to the table. It depends on even the kind of jobs that you could get. It depends on how you work. Some people even get remote jobs that maybe because they are working for a different time zone, when your morning is their night, their night, the timing doesn't work. So sometimes your husband can even maybe be the person that maybe works in the country where you were in. So he goes to work the regular 9 to 5. Your day starts at maybe 4 and ends at the morning. Like it's not cast in stone that, you are going to have certain kind of jobs or that you are going to work in the same time zone or time frame. Essentially, what I'm saying is be willing to help, pull your weights in the marriage, both financially and in the home front, doing chores and all of that. Is all these things are not gender specific. That's my own. Just be the best you can be, contribute where you can, and everybody is moving on. Nobody is carrying the burden. Nobody feels cheated. Nobody feels like he's doing more domestic work. Nobody feels like they're contributing more. Because to be very honest, the dynamic of abroad living is most times you need a 2-income household to survive. Yes, and that's because all the bills, the taxes, and all of this, and bills coming monthly. That's basically, I don't know how else to explain it to make people understand, but that's just how it is. For the single people, you also have your advantage, to be honest, because when you're feeding for one. When you want. But another thing is, it might be a bit harder, especially with the way rents are. You get, so you might have to share an apartment with someone, or you just have to make a lot of compromises to get to fit in and be able to afford basic necessities and still be sane. But all in all, I tell you this, that you're doing wonderfully well for yourself. You're doing amazing. Give yourself grace. Just sometimes give yourself a pat in the back. If it's something that me and my husband will start doing now, or we decided we're going to start doing in this May, is go out for dinner every month. Just take time out, spoil ourselves, and appreciate ourselves for how far we have come. Thinking of when we landed here and all of that. Because to be honest, it's not like it's hunger that chased me from Nigeria. It wasn't anything. It was just the fact that things weren't looking up politically and all of that. And I'm like, you know what, let's move. So for people like that, it's more difficult adjusting and starting and having to start afresh, quote and unquote. So basically, the take home from this video is the fact that the abroad system is different from what you're used to back home. Back home, you have friends, family, good support system, and all of that. But right here, it feels like you're coming to a new place. You're learning the culture, you're learning the economics, you're learning their way of life, you're learning their systems. When I was in Nigeria, I didn't used to do my taxes. Where I worked, they took out my tax every month. But here, even if you take out taxes from your salary every month and all of that, you still have to do taxes. That one gave me mind-blowing headache. Kudos to my husband, because it's his specialty. Those kind of things can drive me nuts. Imagine I had come alone. What would I do? I would go and pay somebody to do my taxes. Paying the person would have not been the issue, because I think the money is maybe, I think with $200 below, that would have not been an issue. But this is what I want to be doing going forward. Like, sometimes it's also good to challenge yourself to learn new things. So just see your immigration journey as a learning curve, where you're learning new things, discovering more things about yourself, being more exposed, and all of that. Just give yourself grace. You are doing amazingly well. I don't know who this message is for, but I know it's for me and someone else. Vivian, you're doing great. You're doing well. You've achieved a lot in the short time you've been here, and it's because of the grace and the mercies of God. I don't take that for granted. But this is made to you to say, don't beat yourself up. Even if you haven't gotten the dream job, do the one you're doing so well with integrity. Do it, love it. It might suck, yes, we know, but just still give it your best, and something great will come out. Do you get? You're doing well. Don't beat yourself up because you haven't gotten your dream house or something. And a basement apartment is not a prison. Do you get? You can start up in a basement, get a very small car, just start up low key until you eventually hammer. Because think about it, even back home where you're coming from, it's not as if you woke up one morning, except for people that their parents, when you turn 18 or you turn 21, they give you a car, give you a house. But if you had to, walk through the ladder of life, then you understand that even the job that you left that is paying you millions, it didn't start paying you millions from the first day you got it. You grew up the ranks, you developed yourself, and you achieved what you have right now. So just give yourself that grace. Don't beat yourself up. Don't, put yourself under any pressure. Don't compete with people, and you'll be just fine. It's about cutting your coat according to your material. This time it's not even according to your size. Cut it according to your material and make do with it. And at the end of the day, you'll be okay. So that's what today's video is about. Today's one is not about story or anything. It's just like, I was just thinking about everything today, and it dawned on me. I'm like, hey, you're almost 1 year in this country, and so far this is what it has been. Do you get? I'm doing great. I am excelling in my field. And again, just before I go, there's one thing this abroad journey does to people is it either takes you closer to God or draws you far away from God. So choose where you want to be, because sometimes the situations gets to you so much so that you're like, you just start questioning things that you once believed in. And if you are a religious person, you will just kill yourself, because you'll be doing, oh, I will fast for one this. Oh Lord, I fasted for this. This did not happen. I did this for this. This did not happen. Just know that God loves you, and know that what is happening to you or the phase you're in is not based off any punishment or any sin that you have committed that God is punishing you for. No, it's just a phase of life. And trusting in God, with favor and the grace of God, you will get to your destination. But don't beat yourself up over the situation and think that because you did X, that's why Y is happening, or because you did A, that's why C did not happen, or B skipped and then it went to F and K. All of those things are just things that wash them away from your brain. And like I say, give yourself grace. Give yourself grace. You're doing amazing. I love you, and I want you to know that Jesus loves you even more. Have a great week, and God bless you.